Okay, my name is Jonathan Trim. I'm an artist who lives in Lee, but mainly I exhibit all around the country really, but it's a chance for me to show the work in Lee. I do the Lee Art Trail every year, but generally speaking the work goes out to galleries all around the country. The exhibition is called Salt in the Air, which for me is an interesting title because I'm sure other people are well aware that you don't have to come anywhere slightly near the estuary and you get this wonderful smell of ozone and salt in the air. So that's the reason the exhibition is called Salt in the Air. The exhibition really contains lots of things to do with me living in this area, and certainly my childhood was in this area, and I spent many hours playing around in the estuary and on the mud flats and out in the rain. So to some extent there's a lot of memories involved in the paintings as well. So perhaps that gives them a little bit of added edge. For me anyway, certainly that's the case. There's an intensity in them which is to do with memory, as well as I think mainly light and atmosphere. The work certainly is about the estuary in the main. There are one or two other pieces in the exhibition that are to do with other places that I'm very familiar with. And they do tend to be places that I'm familiar with and have spent a lot of time in. As I said, my childhood has been spent in Lee. So I know a great deal about it, and I feel a great thing about it as well. I think anyone that lives in Lee feels quite an affinity to the estuary and to the times and the way the year goes through as well, the brent geese arriving. And so there's a pattern that goes on throughout the year, which I'm well aware of as a painter. I always work from sketchbooks. The sketchbooks are always with me, and I have them with me wherever I move, and I'm sketching, drawing and writing and sticking things in the sketchbooks. And then what I do is look at those sketchbooks and then begin to recollect the experience and then paint from that recollection. Within the paint surface there are materials that are connected with the area. So what I do is I actually embody into the paint surface materials that are to do with the locality. So you will see that on various parts of the surface there will be things like small pieces of shell and grit and sand and even small plant roots and things like that. This particular painting is out at Shoebury Beach at low tide, and it's a place that I love to go to. And it always strikes me as how interesting it is when the tide is low, how big the ships coming up the estuary actually look. It's really about, this one is about stillness and about the quietness and stillness you get when the tide is out. And it's very different from when the tide is in. And obviously different weather conditions have different effects on how you feel in that landscape. As is this one here, because it's evening and you know, the sort of evening's drawing on a bit, and you can just begin to see a little hint of the Kent coast with a few little lights showing, just reflecting in the water beneath the landmass, but there's no real detail in it at all. And it's wonderful how at certain light conditions, how all the masses just dissolve into light really, and you get these kind of light and dark patches which are fantastic to paint. I'm not necessarily interested in accurate photographic accuracy. What I'm interested in is how I felt at those particular times and what it felt like to be in those spaces and the sort of things that I was thinking about and doing at that time.